Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a video. This is going to be a response to Steve Carlson, his 200 subscribers contest. I was just kind of watching a couple videos a minute ago, and like most of the time, I was watching someone that had done a response to his video, and when I heard the question, got my wheels turning. And whenever I start thinking about answers to a thread so fast, it's kind of like, well, I'm not gonna be able to rest now until I do a response. So I followed it back to his video and saw his actual contest video, and that was really good, by the way, too. I was cracking up at the part where you were like accepting the award in front of the green screen thing that you did. I thought that was kind of funny. But congratulations on the 200 subs. I think I've been a sub to your channel for a little while now. But yeah, I just kind of want to jump on board and jump on your contest and do a response. So just to show you what's playing in the background, you got Blue Oyster Cult, Fire of Unknown Origin, and of course this is a great album, but this is the one that has a Burning for You, which is one of my top Blue Oyster Cult songs. I know it's one of their more mainstream hits, but I love that song, especially the guitar licks inside of it. It just brings such a beauty to that thing. But anyway, let's just kind of get on to, again, one of those nice, simple, straightforward questions, which was, this is kind of a don't worry, be happy thread of just show 5 or so albums of songs or albums that really make you happy. And I think what really kind of got my wheels spinning with this question was that, like, every album in my collection I actually like. I don't have anything that I keep just for collection's sake, but don't really like anything on it. So all my albums I enjoy, but the question to me was more so like, okay, there's some things that get you pumped up. There's some things that get you, spark more of the romantic connections that you might have. There's some things that may just be more energizing, more relaxing music, or more deeper. But like, what are the actual songs or albums that make you happy, like giddy, smiley, happy? So when I thought about it in that context, it kind of got, it's like, So I just went through and pulled out a few. I was going to narrow it down to 5, but I think I pulled out like 9 or so, something like that. So I figured, screw it, I'll just show them all. All right. And even for me, I mean, those of you who know Mr. Hall of Fame kind of know that my taste is all over the place. I was even looking at this stack and I was like, this is a weird stack of records to pull for a contest answer. So even made me laugh just looking at what I pulled out. But let's just kind of jump right into it because I don't want to make this video too long. I'm going to start off with 2 soundtracks. Number 1 is Teen Wolf. Yes. This is definitely a soundtrack that brings much, much, much joy and smiles to my face, especially when I'm cruising down the highway. I like all the songs on there, but the song Win in the End and probably Way to Go, those 2 songs just crack me up, and it takes me right back to the movie. And keeping in mind, my childhood and pop culture and all of that was during these 80s years. So all those 80s movies and everything, between the music, the soundtracks, and the movies, that is my joy, what made things so fun as a child. Even the song Way to Go, just the lyrics alone on that is what always cracked my brothers and I up so much. I mean, we can't even sing the song without laughing so hard that we can't even continue to sing it. And it's so funny because one of my brothers, that's actually his ringtone on my phone, is the song Way to Go. Oh, goodness. But yeah, that one's definitely one that always brings a smile. As well as this one, which pretty much every single song on this soundtrack will have me the entire time I'm listening to it. The one and only Grease 2. Not Grease, Grease 2. Stomps Grease in every way, shape, or form. And I don't care who wants to give me a thumbs down for that. The movie was 10 times better, and the soundtrack is 100 times better. Every single song on this album just will have me smiling from ear to ear. I would probably say the one that does it the most. It's even hard to say that, but Prowling and Reproduction are probably the two that just get me laughing so hard. Oftentimes, I can't even sing the songs all the way through. But yeah, this soundtrack has brought so much joy to my life over the years. It never gets old. Next, Daryl Hall and John Oates. There's a few things you can pick out by them, but one of the reasons I picked this one out is because of the song "Everything Your Heart Desires." That's a song that, again, when I'm on the highway and it comes on, it's one that I jam out to, and it always brings a smile. I mean, even though necessarily the lyrics aren't about the happiest thing, it's still just such a feel good, you know, do it Daryl, do it John type of feeling. So that's one I had to pull out as well. And then here we have Sam Magawana, probably my second favorite African artist. Victor Uwaifo is probably my first, but you know, and again, great album. But the song I like most and I love most by him is Zagat Zelan Naganasala is the name of the song, and really where this comes back into play is my mother is from the States, but my father was originally from Africa. So I was always very blessed to have a very direct connection to my ancestry, you know, kind of knowing exactly where that side of my family came from. And so, you know, my dad obviously listened to a lot of African music and things of that nature. And one of the things that he used to do is when he was a professor, he would oftentimes have get-togethers slash parties to have other, well, pretty much anyone was invited. A lot of times people he knew, but a lot of times it was for other international professors, African professors, as well as the African students, because they didn't know a lot of people here and all that kind of stuff, and it was just a good little get-together thing. Well, they would have those parties, and you have not partied or seen partying and celebration until you've seen 40 or 50 Africans start throwing on this kind of stuff, and just it's it's just like one big celebration that takes place all night long. And I think that's why this brings such a smile to my face, is that's all I remember is the smiling, the celebration, and all of that that's associated with pretty much every piece of African music that I have. So this is one of the ones that definitely sticks at the top of my list, because this was when he played all the time. And for the longest time, I didn't know who the artist was. So I think I've told the story before about how I even found that album. So that's another great one. And then we go to 10,000 Maniacs. Like I said, we're kind of all over the place here. Our Time in Eden. And the main reason I wanted to show this one is kind of narrowing it down to the song These Are the Days. That is a song that is just about pure happiness and sunshine to me. I've always said that that's like the soundtrack for getting in a car that's a convertible, putting a top down one of the first days of spring, putting on your sunglasses and just going down the road. No place you have to be, no rush, no responsibilities, just enjoying being alive and enjoying the day. And like These Are the Days is the song that perfectly sums that up for me. And so yeah, that's definitely one that brings quite the smile. And this might be one that more people would feel it's more of a rocking out thing, but I'm gonna go with Kiss Love Gun. And listening to the song, it's a title track, Love Gun, brings as much of a smile to my face as just about anything. That there's just something about that song that it's just not even about if the song is a rock song anymore. It's more like that song to me is more so about the joy of having Kiss in your life, kind of joy, if that makes any sense. Especially during the chorus when they have the 3-part harmony, and just like focusing on the different 3 parts within the harmony, everything is just fun. I don't know, it just brings a complete smile to my face. And it always makes me think about, when seeing them in concert, that little 2-step thing that Stanley does, because he's wearing those platforms all the time. And like I just completely and totally associate that with the song Love Gun now. And so yeah, that's definitely one that brings a huge smile to my face. Joe Jackson. That's another one. Kind of going back to some of the '80s stuff, which there's so much fun wrapped up in the '80s. But yeah, a bunch of great songs here. But of course, I'm going focusing more so on Stepping Out. That song again is just pure '80s joy. Love it. Definitely has a smile on my face the entire time. And here's another one, kind of for a rocking album, but Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy. You know, whether it's songs like Romeo, the Lonely Girl, I said really a few different things, Jailbreak, but the song The Boys Are Back in Town is probably the one that represented the best for me off of this album. You know, this past weekend, or a couple weekends ago, I went to an alumni weekend that we had at my college, and I used to play basketball. And so on the alumni night, all the old guys come back and they have an alumni basketball game. And again, you see people that you played with back in the early 90s and that type of thing. And other guys that had become alumni who weren't even born when you were playing it. It's like, it's really weird. Matter of fact, my coach made the statement when we were kind of huddled up before the game. He said it's pretty remarkable when right now there's guys, this group of guys represents guys from 1988 to 2018, and you just kind of look at that and think, jeez. But anyway, I'm kind of going through all of that because when I listen to the lyrics of The Boys Are Back in Town and just the feel of that song, that's kind of the joy that it represents for me, is that same feeling of going back and seeing all the old teammates and telling all the old stories, and you know, stuff that seemed like hell back then is the stuff that you sit around and joke about with the coaches and everyone now. And so that Boys Are Back in Town kind of brings that feeling, which of course is one that brings a lot of smiles and good reminiscing. Fat Boys, heck yeah, back when rap and hip hop was fun. Because there's very little past the mid 90s that I like in hip hop, especially modern day stuff. There's almost no one really. But yeah, you take me back to this time, this stuff was fun. And you know, one reason how you know it's fun, because you actually had artists that weren't afraid to do that, which is smile on a cover. Oh my gosh. When was the last time you saw a modern day hip hop artist smiling? You know? So it's like, if you're going to be all the time, how can I supposed to be so joyous and smile behind it? But back in the day, you know, you had artists like the Fat Boys that would do that. And so, you know, a lot of great things off of this. Can You Feel It? Don't You Dog Me? But the song Fat Boys, a self-titled track off of this, man, that is one song that just, I'm smiling, I'm dancing, I'm doing everything. That song's so simple, but yet just has an awesome groove, and the simple little keyboard parts that are in it just get me like so, I don't know, I love it. That's one that definitely brings a huge smile. And last but not least, again, kind of all over the place, Bobby Darin, Mack the Knife. You want to see Mr. Hall of Fame turn total Vegas? There's 3 songs that you can put on that'll just completely, my Vegas personality takes over. And that's Donkashane by Wayne Newton, You'll Never Find a Love Like Mine, or Mack the Knife. Lou Rawls on the other one there. But I love it. When this song comes on, it's like awesome. The next 3 minutes are just pure joy and happiness. So yeah, I don't know what it is about this song, but it just makes me so freaking happy. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So those are the kind of the initial ones that came to mind. Again, there's tons others I can pull out and that type of thing, but those are the ones I thought about. Again, when I started going through the process, I was just like, you know, when I'm sitting in my car and I got my iPod on shuffle and I'm just like really jamming out, what are the ones that make me like wonder if people are watching me because it might look a little, it's like, those are some of the core ones right there. So, yeah, so those are my picks there. And then there was kind of a second part to, or like kind of a second question, which was like, tell a story of like why music moves you or means so much to you, or kind of what keeps bringing you back to it, all that good stuff. I mean, that's obviously a huge question. I think maybe the easiest way to answer that, in a big general sense, I've always kind of been the oddball, if you will, and not an oddball in the way that I've like been picked on all my life or nothing like that, but more so just kind of like I just was so interested in so many different things, and I was very different than a lot of my family. Back in high school, I was kind of like, in the high school I went to, especially at that time, sports were everything. So if you were a member of the basketball team or the football team or whatever else, that was like the whole jock category. Then there was also kind of there weren't as many black students at my school, so there was also kind of the black clique. Then there was also kind of the, nerdy, just guys that live on your street type of clique. And for the most part, people kept those things very separate. But for me, yes, I was the jock who also went and hung out with, the black group, if you will. But I was also the guy that hung out with all the nerds. I was also the guy that hung out and had these metal friends. So very often, very few of my friends ever intersected. My basketball friends never, I can't think of a single one that ever hung out with my metal friends or my nerd friends. Like they wouldn't even know each other. But I was just kind of like, I saw the coolness, and kind of all of it. There was just something I connected with. And I think music was one of the things that when I looked at my life as a whole, it was kind of the same thing. Because all music basically is just it's emotions, right? It's someone sharing some type of emotion with you, whether it's through lyrics, through playing, through just kind of whatever. But I think that's the thing is that I always had such a connection with so many different things that music was the one thing that was kind of the I'm always with you, always got you, and I always get where you're coming from. It's like, oh, it's like I can spend this Saturday night with music, and I can be a total classic R&B fan. I can also be a metalhead, and I can also be, a goofy 80s pop. And music will be right there with all of that and say, I get you. I understand it, and let me show you that I understand it, because see how I'm making you feel, see how I'm connecting with you. And I think that's why it became such a big thing for me just in terms of liking music. And I think when you look at the collection side of things, because obviously when I was younger, I didn't have the collection like I have now, couldn't afford it for that matter. But I think now what music has done is it's kind of turned itself around. And what I'm saying by that is, as an adult, still always learning and taking in new things, but I feel pretty comfortable knowing kind of who I am and how I am so different and not, I don't easily fit into anyone's box that they set up for me. And so what my collection has become is kind of an outward display of who I am, So music kind of spoke to me when I was younger internally, but then it established me so much to know who I am that it actually gives me a sense of joy to now take what's inside of me and put it into the physical world, which is the collection that I have. And so I think music plays, when I think about what music means to me or why it means so much, it is because it communicates with everything inside of me, and it's also allowed me to express out into the world who I am. And not even necessarily to show the world, but it gives me joy to look at my collection and to be in my collection. I actually see myself, and then there's something that's just really I don't know, almost reaffirming that you kind of know who you are. You're not ashamed of the things that you should be ashamed of, or that people tell you you're supposed to be ashamed of. It's like you're really being true and genuine to who you are because you can't help it. You like Cyndi Lauper. You can't help it. You, you love Third Eye Blind. You love AC/DC. Oh, it doesn't matter if you're black. You love Overkill. That's just the thing. It's just kind of like it kind of represents that. So, yeah, music and I we're kind of intertwined in a way where I think you can't take it apart. If you did separate me from music, it's just by taking my heart out, and you can't live without a heart. So that's a bunch of blah blah just off the top of my head, but I hope something in that made sense. But anyway, man, congratulations on 200 subs. Thanks for putting a video together. It was really fun to do, and we'll talk to you soon, VC. All right, take care, guys.